If I had Django's gun, I'd shoot bullets at this dreadful scene! No. Heck no! I don't want to talk about this film. I don't want to rant about this abomination. Honestly, that's the end of the video. Goodbye. Good night. Fuck, I'm joking. I really don't want to talk about this. Really, I don't. Let this rant begin! What up, y'all? InsideOutFan2001 here. This is not an extreme rant, guys. I'm sorry. This is an extreme, mega, killer rant. Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Or as I'd rather call it, Attack of the Abomination Piece of Shit Movie. So the story, if you could think of that, is basically Anakin and Padme, joining together, befriending one another again. And of course you have this other subplot with, Jango Fett. This bounty hunter is just searching for stuff, and, there's this build up to the Clone War, which is a bit of a setup. There's this villain who's a ripoff of Grimald. Now, his name is actually Count Dooku, but really, he looks that identical to Grimald. And you know what? Fuck it. There is no plot. Now, after fans were tremendously let down by Phantom Menace, the next movie, when it was coming out at the time, many Star Wars fans were like, maybe that could be better. Maybe George Lucas can at least try this time. But oh man, that was just wishful thinking. Now I am one of the people that hates Attack of the Clones more than the Phantom Menace. If anyone of you can remember back in my solo rant, I said that was my least favorite theatrically Star Wars movie ever made. Well, now I take that back. Attack of the Clones is way worse, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, Solo comes a close second. I certainly wasn't a fan of this movie to begin with. And do I have any positives to this thing? None! I have nothing good. Fuck all. No good positives. Filling out everything what's wrong with this movie is like, it would make up my entire art gallery. And this extreme mega killer rant, oh boy, is about to get going. If you thought the, Phantom Menace's story with the taxation on, Naboo and all that shit was dull and boring in this one, this story here has total wasted potential, meaning there is zero clear direction of what the story's trying to tell. The pacing in this movie was so atrocious, so dreadful to sit through. I just wanted to get up and leave. Watching this movie, it felt like being in a huge crowd of students walking in the hallways and like walking to the next class, and I'm like, can't we just pick it up already? Yeah, it gets pretty irritating when you watch this movie. And man, the characters in this movie either do jack shit or they're absolutely despisable pricks. Samuel Jackson's character, disposable. He's not worth mentioning. He just does jack all. And even C-3PO in this movie. Oh, it is shameful the way they handled him. They used him for jokes, like that scene where R2-D2 dragged him, and he's like, this is quite a drag. Yeah, and the humor sucks. And also, Yoda in this movie. Yoda, I just don't care for him. I prefer the puppet Yoda. He had more charm to him. not quite. And the action scenes! My goodness! I'm debating if this is one of the worst action scenes in a Star Wars movie. Well, one of the worst, guys. It's all cluttered and messy. Especially Yoda fighting Count Dooku. It's like a big green pile of turd just fighting off this, dude. White beard dude. Yeah, this movie, it's like watching a disco movie. Please no thumbnail. They're just so lazily choreographed. Even the villains in this movie, they suck. These are some of the worst Star Wars villains ever. Like Jango Fett, who's the father of Boba Fett in the original trilogy. He's a bounty hunter that just shows up, pops up wherever. He's one of the most forgettable, pointless Star Wars characters ever. And even one scene that was so dumb and stupid, he uses a gun to shoot at Samuel L. Jackson's character. And I'm like, dude, you used a gun against a master Jedi. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And Count Dooku, as an antagonist, is such a dreadful ripoff of Grimmel from How to Train Your Dragon 3. Except How to Train Your Dragon 3 actually came out way after this film. I'm to say it's a ripoff, I know. At least Grimmel did more sinister stuff. Count Dooku in this movie only shows up at the hour and 15-minute mark of this entire movie. He just talks and gives exposition, even when he does give his action scenes gives out his full embracement. It's absolute shit. But you know what? I'm actually not gonna go too hardly on Count Dooku in this movie, as he is also played by Christopher Lee, and he sadly died. Like, you know, Christopher Lee, who plays Saruman in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. A way better trilogy. Another blockbuster that came out the same exact time as this abomination. Thankfully, that's the complete opposite. But I'll give a little pause for a moment to give respects, you know. We miss you, Christopher Lee. And that second of honoring his death is over. Yeah, the villains are forgettable. Obi-Wan in this movie, he acts like a dick in this film. The climax of this movie is a big CGI fuckfest. And of course, now we get to the visual effects. Oh my goodness. Don't get wrong, Phantom Menace CGI was bad enough, but this movie, in its visual effects, was ghastly to look at. It is horrific. This doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie, it feels like a PS2 game. There was no frame of this movie that I can say looks good. No good shots in this movie. It's all so shitty and nauseating. My eyes were burning looking at the screen. I was like puking like a leaf blower onto the basement floor. Thankfully, my mom had to clean up that big mess there, because I was too lazy to do that. Yeah, the CGI in this movie, it's so fake, cheap, lazy. It ranks up there. It ranks up there with the Lion King remake and the Amazing Spider-Man 2 as some of the shittiest CGI I have ever seen in film. But even the CGI itself is forgivable in comparison to the worst aspects of the film. One is, of course, you saw this coming, Hayden Christian as Anakin. His performance in this movie was horrendous. It was ghastly. He was horrendous in this film. He doesn't even emote one single emotion. Even his lines are hilariously bad. Especially the famous one of all, I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, and irritating, and it gets everywhere. We're also like, I hate them. I hate them all. I kill them. I kill every one of them. Not just the men, but the women and the children. But of course, the thing that made me almost done with Star Wars is... every moment they are together in this movie, I really wanted to grab a machine gun and put bullets to the screen. There is fuck all, no chemistry. Even Padme in this movie, she is a dumbass. Even Anakin in this movie just felt so creepy with her. Especially one awkward kiss scene. There are kiss scenes in the movie. I was face palming every second. George Lucas, he keeps showing us that they are in love. They keep telling us they're in love. Well, George Lucas, you show. You don't tell. You ignore that philosophy. Now, you might be thinking that George Lucas might have also written for the relationship between Han and Leia in the originals. Well, guess what? He didn't write that, or directed the other two Star Wars movies, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. That's actually Lawrence Kasdan. Yep, you heard right. Lawrence Kasdan wrote this. And guess what? This romance could have worked. It had potential. If Lawrence Kasdan can return, he should have returned, and then it would have been a perfect romance. And yet, other examples of how George Lucas fails at his horrible Shakespearean writing is even the other movie, Strange Magic. Yeah, remember that crappy animated anime film from back in 2015? Oh, I'm gonna leave that an extreme rant. Don't get me wrong, this is a way worse movie than Strange Magic, guys, actually, to me. Yeah, as I said earlier, the action sucks, and even that arena scene, just hideous to look at, especially these 3 pixelated CGI animals, which one of them is basically a big giant mantis-like creature. I don't know what the fuck that is. Also, this other creature that looks like it came straight out of Disney Dinosaur, which, hey, Disney Dinosaur, that movie from 2000, part of my childhood, how the heck that movie holds up way better in its visual effects than this movie ever will. And also this giant saber-tooth cat which tries to scratch on Padme's back. And after that, all shit breaks over with a bunch of these garbage-looking CGI clone army. There just comes a surprise attack. And as I earlier, the climax of the big CGI crap fest. And guess what? You know what's shocking, guys? This is the very first Star Wars movie I've ever checked out. Yep, you heard right. I actually kind of remember watching it when I was like 5 years old. That was the first scene in a Star Wars movie I've ever seen was that arena scene. When I was little, I thought that scene looked a bit bizarre. Yeah, I first watched this movie in 2006. So overall, Star Wars Attack of the Clones is not only a total disgrace to Star Wars, but it is a total disgrace to cinema. This is certainly, along with the holiday special, the worst thing to come out of Star Wars. I personally do not recommend this movie at all. If I had kids, I'd totally show them Force Awakens. And now, I'm also ranking it right up there. I'm also ranking it right up there with the Lion King remake, 50 Shades, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, The Emoji Movie, Home, Iron Man 2, and The Wild as one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my life. And you guessed it, it gets a 0 out of 10. It's bullshit! Whew, man, that Extreme Mega Killer rant sure felt awesome. But hey, I'd like to know, what are your thoughts on Star Wars Attack of the Clones? If you like this movie, well, great for you. For me, couldn't stand a second of this movie. And I don't know what my next video is. Anyway, guys, thank y'all for